All right. Sat Hashem, let's get started here. Today, what's that? Today we're starting the 6th parak of Pirkei Avot, Be'ezrat Hashem. It's worthwhile mentioning, actually, it's not really the 6th chapter of Mishnayot, because really, the 6th parak of Pirkei Avot is Braitaot. It's really something else. But the Chachamim included it in the Mishnah of Pirkei Avot, and that's why, as we'll see, there's an introduction to this parak that draws the distinction between the last 5 prakim in this parak. So what's the difference between a Mishnah and a Braita? Mishnah, really both, in a certain sense, are of equal level. They're both teachings of the Tanaim. Tanaim is an era in history. Rabbi Akiva was a Tana. Rabbi Meir was a Tana. These are Tanaim. However, there were many teachings of Tanaim, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi went around, heard all of these teachings, and he determined which of these teachings were the Ikar. Which ones were the main ones, the principal ones? Oh, Eliezer. Baruch Rabbeich Lalin. Good to see you. Hashem, good to see you. And he figured out which ones are the main ones, and he organized those teachings into Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. He organized them into 6 orders, which are called Mishnayot. And those are considered the Ikar. So the Ikar halacha comes from the Mishnayot. But there were many Tanaic teachings from the Tanaim that were left out. No, after. Sanhedrin is earlier. Meaning there was an overlap, but Sanhedrin was established much earlier. Yeah. Sanhedrin was later also. What's a Braita then? A Braita are Tanaic teachings that were literally bara, outside, that were left out. So the Braitaot were organized by the students of Rebbe, actually, Rabbi Chia, Bar Kapara, different Tanaim also that, the border, these were on the border. But they organized the Braita. Now in Pirkei Avot, the first 5 chapters is like all of Mishnayot. It's Mishnayot. The last chapter, the 6th parak, which we're starting today, which they call Kinyan Torah. It's called the parak, the chapter of acquiring Torah, of buying Torah. Or some call it Pirkei Rabbi Meir, some call it the parak of Rabbi Meir because it starts off with Rabbi Meir. It's Braitaot, and it talks all about the way to acquire Torah and how it affects a person. The greatness that studying and learning and acquiring Torah does to a person. It's an amazing chapter. Just the words itself are amazing, but Be'ezrat Hashem, as we go through it, we'll also go through some of the Mefarshim who explain this Mishnah. So we begin the 6th parak, and it says as follows: Shanu Chachamim Bilshon HaMishnah. Now literally it means the Chachamim taught in the language of the Mishnah. Why is he saying this? Because really what we're about to introduce is not Mishnah. It's really Braitaot. So these Braitaot were included in the Mishnah. Baruch Shebachar Bahem U'B'Mishnatam. Blessed is Hashem who chose them and their teachings, which means we're about to learn as Braitaot, but it was included nonetheless in Pirkei Avot. Good question? Rabbi Meir says, we're going to talk about anyone that learns Torah Lishma, all of the amazing things that happen to such a person. You could eat, you don't have to wait. Yeah.
By the way, you see it Tafa speaking.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Because when a person's when a person in the constant state of giving, the Rebbe's hand out, all of a sudden you start to see the blessings of Hashem. People don't understand, but when you become a giver, especially when you become a giver of Torah, all of a sudden the chef is just returning.
100%. Like you were telling me the other day, learn with your brother, learn with your master. Rabbi Meir says, Kol eisek b'Torah lishma. Anybody that's involved in Torah, lishma. Now what is lishma?
Torah.
What is lishma? Mazel lishma.
For the sake of Hashem.
Literally means for its sake. What does it mean though? For the sake of Hashem. So there's a Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit and a Gemara in Masechet Pesachim that tells us there's different levels of intention, of kavanah. You could have a level of shalol lishma, not for its sake, and you have a level of lishma. And the Gemara says, even if a person's involved in Torah and mitzvot shalol lishma, it's okay, because ultimately he'll reach the ultimate level of lishma. But there's a contradiction. Because on the other hand, there's a Gemara in Ta'anit, I believe it's brought up in Brachot again, that says, if you're involved in Torah shalol lishma, noach lo shalol nivra. It's better it shouldn't have been created, which is a terrible thing. So which one is it? So the Gemara explains, or Tosafot really explains, that there's different levels of Shelo Lishma, which means Shelo Lishma, not for the sake of Hashem, or not Lishma. The appropriate level, which is not the highest thing, but it's still acceptable. He learns Torah so that he's called Rebbe. He wants kavod. He wants to be recognized. He wants to be a rabbi. That's okay. Not the highest level of Lishma, but it's a level. It's a level. However, there's a level of Shelo Lishma that has no redeeming qualities. Wow, I feel like I'm in an airport. There's a level of Shelo Lishma that has no redeeming qualities to it. What level is that? Somebody learns Torah, as Tosafot calls it, al minat likanter, in order to put other people down. What do you mean to put other people down? He studies Torah to harm other people, to push others down. Chas v'shalom. That's terrible. And that, we say, Noach lo shelo nivra. Better he shouldn't have been created. Meaning that has no redeeming qualities at all. But the ultimate level that we know, which is called Lishma, Rashi in Masechet Ta'anit translates, Asher tzivani Hashem Elokai. I'm learning Torah, I'm doing mitzvot, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded me to do.
May I add one more thing?
Please.
Also, for instance, I think it's similar, when a person learns Torah, but the Torah is kept on Mount Everest as opposed to Mount Sinai, then it's being kept for the person himself.
What does that mean? Explain.
Meaning, the person keeps the Torah so above the people that he's learning the Torah with, that they have no comprehension of what he's saying.
He's not able to relate.
He's not able to relate. So it's up here. It's not over here. Hashem gave the
Torah
Torah
lo b'shamayim.
Exactly. The Torah is here with the people.
Beautiful. So back in the Mishnah, excellent. Back in the Braita, really, is anyone that learns Torah Lishma, kol osek ba Torah Lishma, he's involved. Osek also means eisek. Eisek is a businessman. Somebody that makes Torah his business. What does it mean? His head is always involved and he's thinking about it. He's enveloped in it. Zochel dvarim arbe. He merits many things, and the Mishnah tells us he merits many things, as we'll see, Tzaddik and Chassid and all of the real amazing things in this world. And the Mishnah now goes on to tell us all kinds of amazing levels this person can reach when he's involved in Torah Lishma. And not only that, the entire world was fitting to be created for such a person. If a person is involved in Torah Lishma, the entire world was fitting to be created for such a person. The whole world. And we're going to see levels that he's called in a minute. But the Gemara in Masechet Brachot tells us, Ben Azai, one of the great Tanaim, great Chacham, when he would go and see, one second, was it Ben Azai or Ben Zoma? I don't remember if it was Ben Azai or Ben Zoma. The great rabbi, we'll just say, when he would go and see many people there, many Jews, he would say, blessed is Hashem who created all these people to serve me. So these people to serve me, what does that mean? So the Gemara explains the reason he says that he created all these people to serve me is because he said, I'm able to wake up in the morning, he was a wealthy man, and everyone's coming to give me wares, to sell me things, to take care of me, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu orchestrated all of this, and I get all those benefits. So he gave Hoda'at to Hashem. But on another level, it could be really all those people there to serve him. Because someone who's involved in Torah Lishma like that, the entire world was kedai to be created for such a person. We're really like that. It's a very high level. Okay. Nikra Reya, such a person is called a friend. Ahuv, loved. So we're talking about up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Such a person is a friend. He's beloved. Ohevet HaMakom, he loves Hashem. Ohevet HaBriot, and he loves people. Such a person, he's doing such a benefit to the world. He loves Hashem, he loves people. Misameach et HaMakom, he gladdens Hashem. Person who's involved in Torah Lishma, he makes Hashem proud. He makes Hashem happy. He gives nachat ruach. We call nachat ruach liyotzro. What do you mean nachat ruach liyotzro? You make Hashem feel good. Nachat. You make your parents nachat. Yeah. You make Hashem nachat. You learn Torah Lishma. Enjoy. Comfort, etc. Misamech et habriot, and he also makes people happy. How does he make people happy? Like you just said. The person learns Torah Lishma and he's able to share it. So what's he doing? He's gladdening people, not Mount Everest. And Har Sinai, Maskim. Umalbashto anava v'yirah. And someone who learns Torah Lishma, it clothes him, malbashto. It causes him to be adorned, clothed with anava and yirah, with humility and yirah, awe. And what does that mean? The natural reality is that if a person really studies Torah Lishma in the right way, it affects his personality. It affects his character. So he becomes a person that's humble. He becomes a person as Yat Shamayim. We see people that don't seem to be like this and they study Torah. So what's the answer? They're not studying the Shema. They have their own nigiyot. They have their own personal interests. So they're not affected in the same way.
They haven't broken through the klipa yet.
They're on their way.
They're on their way.
And this study of Torah prepares him to be a tzaddik. Chassid is a higher level than tzaddik. It means lifnei mishurat hadin. It's a person who not only is he makbid on all of the laws based on their ikar hadin, the main level of the law, but they go even lifnei mishurat hadin. They do things even beyond that. Yashar v'ne'eman. He's a person. It prepares him to be a person who is yashar. He's straight. It's a higher level than tzaddik, and he's trustworthy. And it also distances a person from sin. Someone that's constantly involved in the study of Torah, it changes his focus, and it naturally will distance him from Avera. And it also brings him to merits. You learn Torah, you see how important it is and serious it is. Naturally, it causes you to go in a direction to do mitzvot and merits.
There's gold lying on the ground.
There's gold, right? Can you imagine?
Pick it up.
Pick up the gold, grab it. It's just there in front of you. Wow. Now, because of such a person, as we're about to say, he becomes a very valuable asset to society. Because now he embodies the greatness of the Torah, and he has tremendous wisdom. So, v'nehanin mimenu eitzah v'tushiyah. Such a person, everyone in society benefits from him with eitzah, with advice. A person really has chokhmat Torah, the advice of the Torah, so they benefit from him, eitzah and tushiyah. These are two different types of advice. Greatness, advice. Bina gvura, as well as bina is understanding. We learned about that before. And gvura. Gvura refers to action. Means he can help other people physically in mitzvot because of the change that he's experienced through studying Torah Lishma. Shene'amar, like it says in Mishlei, li eitzah v'tushiyah. For me, for the Torah is eitzah v'tushiyah, these types of wisdoms. Ani bina li gvura. I am bina, and for me is gvura. Now, really, that's where the Mishnah here finishes. We're going to finish off like the other Girsa, which is a few more lines. Bina is understanding, it's translated as. Bina is l'mevin davar mitoch davar. Understand one thing from another. Continues the Mishnah, v'notenet lo malchut. It gives him kingship. Chazal tell us, ein kavod ela Torah. The only real glory is Torah. All the other glory that we think, living on the water, in a big mansion, and driving a Porsche, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that necessarily. Ein kavod ela Torah. The only real kavod is Torah. So that's why it gives him malchut as well. V'notenet lo malchut u'memshala. It gives him malchut and rulership. B'chikur adin, and the ability to analyze judgment. Such a person, he's able to reach levels of chokhmah, of understanding, clarity that otherwise people would not have. Umegalin lo razei Torah. This is fascinating. There's in Chassidus, which I don't study so much, but in Ashkafat, not yet. We're getting there. In Chassidut, there's razei. There's secrets. So a person who genuinely studies Torah, he also is revealed secrets of the Torah, the secrets, the depths, sophistication. And it becomes like a stream that does not stop. Like a river that is constantly becoming more powerful. It means the Torah that he studies, it's not just at face value, but it becomes deeper and more sophisticated and more advanced. Rosh Hashiva always says, Rabbi Zweig always says, he always says that it's a shame when you see somebody that they study Chumash when they're 5 years old, and then they study Chumash when they're 95 years old, and it's the same thing. They absorb the same ideas. It's a big shame. Because really, it's the same Torah, but it should be understood with more sophistication and more depth and more understanding every time you open the Chumash. So that's the idea. It's like it's a new understanding. Someone that really studies Torah Lishma becomes even more advanced and more sophisticated. And such a person, he will be modest, he'll be patient, and he'll forgive those who offend him. Now there's two ways to understand this. Either it means naturally the reality is that the Torah that he studies will affect him personally. Not just study, intellectual pursuit, but it affects his personality. A person that really studies Torah naturally becomes more patient. He should become more patient. if he really works on himself. Actually, the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit tells us the Torah can make a person in a certain way less patient. He becomes more sensitive to the things that are being done wrong, but he has to train himself through Musar. Train yourself through Musar so that you don't get upset. You have to, it says, like, I think it's Ravina, he says, he has to train himself to be patient. Even though the Torah can make a person a little bit fiery, a little impatient, we have to use Musar. The greater Torah we learn, the greater Musar we have to learn, so we become patient people, easygoing. And Mochel al bono. We give up, we forgive. When people make fun of us, they mock us, they hurt us, we're able to let that go. One of the reasons brought down for that is because real tzaddikim don't want other people to get punished because of them. So if somebody hurts a tzaddik, hurts a Talmid Chacham, Hashem gets upset about that. They don't want that person to get punished by Hashem because they hurt them, so they forgive. Now another way to learn this is, it's not that the Torah does that to you as we just explained only, but it's another idea, is if somebody becomes upset, he forgets his Torah. So in order to retain his Torah, he trains himself to be patient, not to get upset, and in doing so, he's able to retain his Torah, he doesn't forget it. And this Torah that he studies elevates him and picks him higher than all of creation. Somebody that studies Torah in this way, Lishma, elevates him to the highest of levels. Why? Like we said, Kedayu lo. The whole world was created for him, so he is the pinnacle of Maaseh Bereshit, somebody that studies like that. But nonetheless, as we said, he stays humble. So it's a combination. Ein kavod ela Torah, the greatest honor is Torah, but it doesn't affect you in a negative way. It shouldn't. And you stay humble, you stay anav, I'm humble. Okay, we'll stop here, Chav. We'll pick up with Bet tomorrow, Bezat Hashem. We're gonna have a wonderful day. Belvusho, ken. Yes, great to see you back. Yeah.